It has been promoted as a technology that will more than double agricultural production and save the world from the pangs of hunger. But it is also a technology that is still shrouded in mystery, in Kenya especially, with most Kenyans not fully understanding what it means to genetically modify an organism.
Any organism that has genetic material that comes from a different organism. So if you have one maize, which probably has a gene that originally came from a bacteria. That's what defines a GMO.
So your mother and your father, when they produced you, they produced a genetically modified organism. Do you understand that? Because you don't look like your dad completely, and you don't look like your mom. But you might be more improved, you might be taller than both of them, or shorter than both of them. So you're genetically modified.
Despite the lack of understanding, Kenyans have been trapped between a push and pull war between pro and anti-GMO campaigners since November 2012, when the government banned GMOs. But even with the ban, the country has been able to make significant progress in biotech research on cotton and maize in regard to disease and pest control. The research into BT maize is now in the field trial stage, which is being conducted at the Kari Kiboko Center. This trial is testing the MON 810 maize seed.
We have conventionally developed maize that can also control, to some extent, not fully control stem borers. Unfortunately, it is a very slow process.
This is the third time that Kari is conducting field trials on BT maize, and the seed here is known as MON 810, which is a seed that was developed by Kari, but the gene was donated by Monsanto, hence the name MON 810. Now this seed, the gene actually that has been introduced, is intended at controlling insects and pests in the maize, more specifically stem borer. Now South Africa is one of those countries that has had successes with BT maize, especially in the area of insect and pest control. But in the recent years, it has run into the challenge of the same pests developing a resistance.
In South Africa, what happened is that farmers mainly are large scale, and they ignored some parts, some components of the growing that will have ensured that we have resistance not developing for a long time.
GM maize is very popular in South Africa, accounting for 70% of the total cultivated maize and a third of all arable land. But now more than half of this maize is no longer insect pest resistant, resulting in an increase in the usage of herbicide, glyphosate especially. With cases of pests developing resistance to the BT gene on the rise, anti-GM campaigners feel that it is a good reason for the world to abandon the technology altogether, because they say the increase in the use of herbicide glyphosate is harmful to the environment. Argentina, for instance, produces 79% of its soybean through BT and has reported a rise in cases of child deformities and miscarriages in soybean growing areas, allegedly caused by the use of glyphosate.
We've heard that in the US, because of production of a lot of GM, we have got what we call bee colon collapse syndrome. The bees are becoming fewer, the colonies are collapsing, and some people have associated it with the increase in the acreage of GM crops.
At the moment, at least 32% of the world's total landmass is under BT maize, and Kenya says it is ready to commercialize the technology here. That is, if the Ministry of Health lifts the ban.
We will review the the safety records, the safety data, and based on that safety data, we'll be able to approve a product for commercialization. And the basis for that approval will be because it is safe for human and animal health.
The country has just concluded research on genetically modified cotton, which is now ready for commercialization. Zainab Wandati, NTV, for Food Friday.